All right, ladies and gents, boils and ghouls. Well, we're not talking horror today, so you're not boils and ghouls. You're just ladies and gents. But we are
Naturally.
here, the Gnat and the Cat, the Midnight
Cat
Society. What's
and
going on, Pat?
Society. Oh man, I can't believe it, man. Once again, the incredible rhyme animal, the gnat is taking us on a cat. And the gnat and the cat are once again bringing it the clash of the titans. Um,
Yes,
Man, I am really every time we do one of these,
I know. I know what
I
you're
get
about to
so
say.
jazzed up. I get so jazzed up. I
I
mean,
know.
and I did rope Al. I sent you that through
Yeah,
Instagram.
I
I did
saw it.
rope
Yeah,
Al
that's great. Good
that
to hear.
all three of us can assemble like the Avengers. Instead it'll be the Midnight Society assembles. And I got an idea too, and I'll share that with you toward the end of the show. I got an idea for the movie, which I actually hope that will work, because I think it would be a lot of fun if we do it. But
All right.
we will see. Yeah, I thought about this going like, I actually been thinking about that one like, man, we've been on a roll lately. We're gonna get Al into the mix here. He is the Midnight Society, and we gotta get him in here. And I got the perfect topic. Um, but
That's awesome.
this is
No,
our
yeah,
third
it'll be
one.
great. Yeah, I know, and I'm loving how it's going because like you said,
Yeah,
every single time of rewatching these movies, and especially because this is like, even though I do venture out of horror now and then and do other movies that are in other genres and stuff, this is another way in a not review way to get out of the horror genre now and then when we don't do horror movies. I mean, sometimes we did Misery and Cujo for our Stephen King one last time. If you guys haven't seen that
right.
one, go check it out. I'll link it in the description. But it's good to be able to venture out of horror. We did American Pie and Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and just doing a
Right.
comedy,
That was
two great classic comedies like that. So now today we have two epic films from the 90s that are both based off of novels, which we have The 13th Warrior from 1999, based off Michael Crichton's novel. What is it again? Eaters of
yeah
the Dead.
the Eaters of the Dead.
That's right. Then we had with Antonio Banderas, of course, and then we have Michael Mann's The Last of the Mohicans from 1992 with
And
Daniel Day Lewis and Wes Studi. I mean, both films have such great casts, but two films that are excellent. And I was telling Pat, and Pat knows this, and other people who follow me know, if they know my top films, Last of the Mohicans is my second favorite movie ever. Like,
what's
it's
your
my
what's your first?
is The Thing by Carpenter.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, and then Halloween is third after the Last of the Mohicans. But yeah, it's
It's
my
funny.
favorite non horror
That's
film.
interesting um, because I can announce this now because as far as coming up, but on March 16th, uh, we will be back. Well, at least I'll be back with Kyle Curtis Flett,
Oh no,
and yeah, we're gonna do
love
one.
Kyle.
And I asked him. I said, so he's down with it, and so I said, what movie do you want to do? And he goes, Superman 78. That's my favorite movie of all time. So
That's great.
here it is. We are covering the Midnight Society's favorite films of all time.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm not covering Superman 78. That was Kyle's pick. So
Yeah. So
now,
you're talking about the movie versus your favorite movie.
yeah, you're thinking, well, gosh, I mean, what can you
Yeah.
do to stop that? How can you counter your favorite film of all time? And actually, it took me all about 30 seconds. And I said, we're going to go ahead and talk about Superman Returns.
That's awesome. That'll be
And,
a
and
great
I said,
time.
you know what? I cannot think of a better movie for me to talk about than Superman Returns for Superman 78, because it's just a reboot it's a remake of the first movie.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know that. I've never been a Superman person or a big
Um,
action like a superhero person in general much. But let's hop in the chat quick. What's up, Scott? Popeye's chicken's awesome. Yes, indeed, indeed, it definitely is.
let's see.
Uh,
Hi, Sarah. Sarah,
yeah.
Sarah.
How's it going, Sarah? Yesterday was 3 years since my grandma's gone. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that,
Oh,
but
yeah, I
it was
remember.
hope. Rest in peace to
I
her.
remember. I remember when you lost your grandma, Sarah. My thoughts are with you. And speaking of thoughts are with people, of course,
Yeah,
we have
I was gonna.
our
Yeah, let's
thoughts.
definitely say it.
Why don't you go ahead
Jamie.
and let's talk about a little bit about Jamie Hart.
Yeah,
Uh,
our dear Jamie suffered from a stroke the other day. She's all right. She's been communicating, talking, posting the video and everything, and seems that she's will be going home. What day? You know what day?
yeah,
A few
Tuesday.
days or so. Tuesday. Okay, so yeah, a few
She
days.
said that everything is going well. She said
Yeah.
her husband was the one that spotted the symptoms.
Oh,
And
really? Okay. Wow. Good.
yes, I
Good
was like,
thing he did.
I said, your husband's a hero because
Yeah. Good thing
yeah.
he did.
What's that saying? Time loss is brain loss. So here she, as soon as
True.
she saw that, I guess she started slurring her words and drooling, and
Yeah.
he immediately knew what was going on and got her into the ER. And luckily it wasn't anything permanent. Of course,
Yeah.
now now you just have to sit and wait,
Yeah.
and
But
make sure they.
luckily, yeah, like you said, luckily it doesn't seem like there's any permanent lasting effects, and that she seems she's gonna be all right and going home on Tuesday. So just keep
I
her in
think.
your thoughts and
Right.
prayers, and send her vibes, astral project them her way. Do whatever you got to do, but keep her in your
Yeah,
thoughts for sure. Because Jamie, we all love you. If you
that's
see this,
right.
so
That's right.
definitely are
And
thinking
what's
about you.
funny too is that last Saturday, this Saturday, like yesterday, was supposed to be the debut of her Saturday night show.
I know. It's
And
crazy.
I've been looking forward to it. I told her this, since ever since she said she was going to come and do a show on Saturday, I have seen a lot of people get excited about that,
Oh
more so
yeah.
than anybody else. I mean,
Since
it's,
she announced that she's doing her comeback, and so I said, I can't wait for you to start doing stuff again. And then she
yeah,
wanted to do Twin Peaks with me, Fire Walk with me. So it sucks the timing. I mean, but all that
yeah.
matters, she's all right. So
I want to do a Clash of the Titans with her, but I got the movies for us.
that's a
Um,
good idea. I'd watch
yeah,
that. I'd
I
watch the
want
hell
her.
out of you guys talking
I
about.
I think I would love to do a Clash of the Titans with her doing Eraserhead, and which is the weirdest. It's the
I
weirdest.
love Eraserhead.
It's the weirdest Lynch movie ever, and I would actually
Inland Empire might challenge that. That one's
pretty,
fucking crazy
pretty.
too.
I actually took my wife to go see Mulholland Drive, and I didn't know anything about it other than David Lynch.
Yeah.
Like came out there.
Which God rest his soul, man. That hit me hard when Lynch died, and I know, yeah, he smoked and
Yeah,
shit
but
his whole life.
he been dodging a bullet for years. I mean,
Oh,
like,
yeah, of course. I mean, everybody does in their own ways and vices that they
yeah,
have and
but
stuff. But,
I mean, he was 78. I mean, he was a chain smoker. It was
oh
like
yeah,
those John
he
Carpenter.
never didn't have his cigarette in his hand.
Oh
He
God,
always had a cigarette.
you're right.
Always.
Honestly, I cannot remember. I don't think I've seen, but maybe a handful of pictures with him
Well,
without
I
a
mean,
cigarette.
look at Harry Dean Stanton, who lived to
Uh,
like 90 something years old, and he worked with Lynch a lot, and so he was packs a day smoker his whole life. He lived to 90
right.
something, you know. I mean, you never know. It
Uh,
depends on the person, but
yeah,
that
I
hit me
think.
hard when Lynch died.
Yeah.
That because he's a favorite director of mine.
I think his career, I mean, I definitely think he was vital all the way through to the end. Definitely. I would, my dream matchup for a Clash of Titans would be Jamie would be Eraserhead versus Skinner Morenik. Which it
Skinamarink?
drives, yeah, Skinner Marink. She thinks it's like I think personally it's very much like a David Lynch film.
I
But
don't
I
think
think,
so at all. I hated that movie. I thought that movie was terrible.
brother, oh, I can see
I
it
did
now.
not like Skinamarink.
That's
I
right.
thought that was like the general consensus for most people.
I
It
don't
has its
understand that.
fans.
I truly don't understand that because I would understand it if it was just an open-ended movie. I mean, it was just like, okay, like there's no ending to the movie. It's just like it went
Yeah.
on and then ended. But the fact of the matter is that the movie does have a beginning and end and a middle and an end. It does have a story to tell. It's just that
Oh yeah,
one.
there is.
It's a
It's just that
very,
doesn't
very, very.
movies that have beginnings, middle, and ends and have a story could still be boring as shit for some. That's just the point I'm making.
I don't know if
I
it was
thought it's
boring.
such a
I don't.
boring
I
movie.
Well, you know what though? It's like a lot of people when they watch the Eraserhead, that's how they feel about that.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know
Absolutely.
anybody who loves Eraserhead. I mean, they
I
like
I
it.
I
I like
adore
Eraserhead.
Eraserhead. I adore
I do
Eraserhead.
too. I adore
I
it,
mean,
but I
and
wouldn't necessarily say
that's
I
to your
love it.
point, and to the point that we always talk about is that why it's great that everyone has different tastes and stuff, because
Well,
that's
I
exactly
just
right.
like the topic of it. I
I
mean, the
look at
topic of it.
Skinamarink and I say, I don't nothing like a David Lynch movie. That's fucking dreadful to me. But like
Oh,
people look at just like you said, we'll look at Eraserhead or Inland Empire or
yeah, but
many
see,
Lynch movies
Eraser.
and
Think
say,
about it though.
what
The thing
the
about it,
fuck is
JT.
this?
The thing about it, JT. There's not another David Lynch movie that's like Eraserhead. There's
That's
nothing.
true.
There's nothing out there.
Oh,
You
that's
only
true.
got the one. You only got the one movie to compare with. So he's
Yeah,
like, it's not a David Lynch movie. Well, who's to say? He only put out the one Eraserhead, which is the closest movie that compares to Skinamarink.
that's true. I can, I
So
can,
I mean, I
I
don't
can
think
see the comparison for sure.
right. It's just it's like Darren Aronofsky who did Mother.
Oh
People
yeah.
got totally blown away by that. They're going, "What the heck? What are we watching?" Well, you're watching a
Yeah.
symbolic movie.
I still haven't seen Mother. I gotta check that out because I
That's
mean
a good
Darren
one.
Aronofsky did Requiem for a Dream and Pi, which Requiem is another top 10 movie to me.
You
For
know, the
me.
movie I didn't get to see. I didn't get to see, and I'm hoping that it comes through the library. Was another movie like this. It was called Room with Tom Hanks and Robert Wright.
Oh, okay. I remember
It's,
hearing
it's
about it. I didn't see it
Robert
either.
Zemeckis. He's just filming in one room during while time passes by.
Okay.
He's filming that spot of land, and then it goes from like dinosaur age, and then it just evolves into today. It evolves into it, but he never leaves
Yeah.
the room. He never leaves the spot of land. And
That's
I think
interesting.
it is. I think it's
Yeah. That's an
fascinating with
intriguing premise and idea.
yeah. Well, now of course our two movies are more steak and potatoes and vegetables.
Yeah.
They're both
Absolutely.
absolutely. One is a little bit more romantic than the other.
Yep.
But and You picked The Last of the Mohicans. That was your second favorite movie, as we said. I picked
Yep.
I picked The 13th Warrior when we were discussing what movies to talk about because man, I love The 13th Warrior. I fucking love that movie so much. I love The Last of the Mohicans too. I mean, Last of the Mohicans is amazing film.
Yeah.
Um, and I got to be honest with you, after rewatching both of them, that I think I'm with you in the fact that I think because we're not it's not a comparison, it's not who's better. It's just
Yeah,
like
exactly.
why do you love one more than the other? And I got to be honest with you, I think I would have chose The Last of the Mohicans for that too. There is, I mean, but then again, I mean, like there's so like they didn't have
Yeah.
the 13th Ward didn't have the romanticism, but you and I were talking before we came on about how the emotional moments and
Yeah, and they're more sparse in the 13th Warrior, but they're
more
impactful as
sparse.
hell
But you know what?
when they're
Yeah,
there.
they are impactful. They're
Yeah,
very impactful. I would definitely match up the last scene, the last battle. They're getting ready to fight the last battle, and then all the Vikings say their prayer, and it goes from one man.
yeah, that's
Man,
great. The
you get
look of
chills. You get
the look
chills up your spine.
the look of the Wendells too, and is great. Like, and we were saying before, like for both movies, all the attire, the outfits, the costume design, the setting, the cinematography for both of these movies are just fantastic.
Now,
Like throughout.
did you read the James Fenimore book? I mean, James Fenimore
I
Cooper. Did you read
yeah,
that? Okay.
but like growing up as a kid, so I
Yeah.
don't. I know there's a lot of differences. Like they swapped the romance in Michael Mann's version. It was in the original book. I think it was Uncas was Cora had a little thing, and it was Alice and Hawkeye, and they reversed it for Michael Mann's movie. Like a lot of changes like that, like little detail. I mean, that's one of the bigger ones, but there's a lot of differences for sure. And I don't
Um,
remember the 32 version, the movie.
I remember watching the first time I read the book when I was in junior high for class, And I never saw the earlier editions of Last of the Mohicans. I never saw the first version I ever saw was in the 70s. And it was either late 70s, maybe early 80s. And it was called The Last of the Mohicans, and it stars Steve Forrest
Mm.
as Hawk. Now, Steve Forrest at that time, prior to that, Steve Forrest had been well known as a great bad guy. He had played bad guys in many, just about any roles he had played. He'd been a bad guy,
Yeah.
and he got a chance. He got cast in Aaron Spelling's series called SWAT, where he played Hondo,
Okay.
and so it was his first time he played a good guy.
Yeah.
And after that, then he started playing a little bit more, and they cast him at that time. They cast in The Last of the Mohicans, so he played the good guy in that, and it was really different because it was so against his type. But he
Yeah.
was really good in that movie, and it was made for TV. It aired on NBC. I remember that it aired on NBC, and it was exciting. It was definitely an exciting made for TV movie. Um,
Yeah, I
after,
never checked out any of the other ones besides the 32 film. And
well, they actually went back to the well after this movie came out. This movie came out in 1992, and
yeah,
a little
that's right. Did they did a series or something? You said?
they did. Back when
Yeah, I never saw
syndication
that.
was king, syndication was king. There were a lot of
Yep.
series that were being made for syndication, and they did make a Last of the Mohican series, but they called it Hawkeye. And it starred
Okay.
none other than Lee Horsley, who had two shows underneath his belt by that time. He had a series, a detective series called Matt Houston, which he did with Buddy Espin and Pamela Hensley. Got to mention Pamela Hensley, Cast
Yeah.
Meow. And then after that, then he did another series, a kids, not a kids, but a western called Paradise. And and then they're trying to make it a little bit more action packed. So the last season they called it The Guns of Paradise, and then he did Hawkeye. Guess who his leading lady was in that series?
Oh.
Since because you mentioned superheroes weren't your thing. Well,
Oh,
it was
wow.
probably the most one of the most iconic superheroes ever on TV, and then went on to do movies, and that would have been Linda Carter of all
Oh,
people.
okay. That's interesting. I remember actually not like hearing about a series, but then I never checked it out or anything like that. Because in my opinion, you can't top Michael Mann's movie ever.
Oh,
Like that's the
yeah.
definitive version of that story ever. Because I
Oh, yeah.
remember not liking the book that much, but I did see the movie first. So I mean, it does make sense. But I mean, I didn't feel like it was like an excellently written book or anything like that. But it's a good story, and the way Michael Mann brought it, and brought it to screen and stuff is just what makes it so excellent for me. Is how that story was brought to screen and the
Now,
music. I mean, Jerry
I
Goldsmith's score is fantastic for the
you
13th
know what's
Warrior. I
funny?
forgot all about it. It's a great
I'll tell you something about the Last of the Mohican score. It was made by two people. It was
Yeah,
done
I
by
knew you
two.
were going to say this
Yeah,
because we talked about
they listed, or I should
it.
say
Yeah,
not.
the
I
Gale.
should not say they, but another movie actually lifted part of the score of Last of the Mohicans and put it on their movie.
Yeah,
The movie's it's one of my favorite movies. It actually it'll probably make the Clash of the Titans sooner than later. But
which one?
there was a piece of film music, a score that they lifted up and moved to, and like they moved it from the Last of the Mohicans, and they
And
moved
put
it to
it in
another
that.
movie,
What movie?
Gettysburg.
Oh,
Gettysburg.
Gettysburg. Oh, okay.
I'm listening, going like, I
Hmm.
know that music, and I know where it's coming from. It's coming from Last of the Mohicans. And now that's the second. That's weird because the only other time I've ever heard anybody do that has been James Horner. James Horner was notorious. He made great scores, but he ripped him
Oh
off.
yeah.
He plagiarized himself all the time. Oh my lord! I mean, you
I
go back
and
and
I
look.
mean to your point with when we first talked about this a few days ago, whenever it was about the score and being Goldsmith. My defense to that, of course, is it's Jerry Goldsmith. Sometimes you need one or two, maybe three people that are pretty competent to make something truly great. If you're not all Jerry Goldsmith,
I,
it's Jerry
you know what?
Goldsmith.
I mean, really,
He's fucking on another level. I mean, so I can't compare it.
it's really a close call. I mean, as far as the score goes, I mean, Last Mohican score is just so unforgettable, and it isn't until you actually listen to the 13th Warrior score that you really appreciate it. It's more lean and muscular. Definitely
Yeah.
more lean and muscular, because that's the way the 13th Warrior is. It's not
Absolutely. Yeah.
there's no romance here. This is come here, getting some business done, taking care of some business.
Mhm.
Whereas the score for The Last of the Mohicans is beautiful and lush, and
Yeah.
just
And
emotional, emotional.
the way it builds too.
Right. I mean,
It's about that build and the Native American feel to it, obviously, which they took that main violin that plays throughout the main theme. I'm pretty sure that was taken from like an old tune, like a Scottish or an Irish tune or Celtic
I'm
or
sure.
something like that. But I mean, how that just plays, and because the ending to The Last Mohicans, I say all the time, I think the greatest ending to a movie ever. Like
Oh
the
gosh,
last
it
10 minutes of
definitely
that
is.
movie is just insane. From when Hawkeye gets to that camp and tries saving Cora and Alice and stuff, and then Duncan, sacrifices himself, and the
How
Indian chief
about that?
says, "Take him." I love that too. Yeah, how he says, "My
I did
compliments,
not.
sir. Take her and get out." That's great.
I did not expect that when I watched
Yeah,
that movie.
yeah, because
You talk about,
they didn't care for each other
because
at first.
I mean, in the 13th Warrior, sacrifice was the first key word. I mean, they were 13. It's almost like,
Yeah,
it's like 13 samurai.
yeah.
It's like,
Well,
there's
that
13
was
of
their
us.
prophecy. That was the prophecy that they
Right,
had.
we were 13 men, and they all sacrificed themselves to save those people.
Yeah,
So sacrifice was first and foremost. But we saw Duncan, and we saw what he did, and you're thinking, man, what a weasel. Even when they're racing, trying to get away, even when they're
yeah,
trying to get away, he's still sitting on the other canoe saying, when we stop, I'm going to hang your ass. After he got done
yeah.
saving your ass right
Uh,
now, and you still
I'll
threatening
have
him.
you hung. That
Yeah,
is that,
and
and that's what I love about his characters. I mean,
yeah,
even the smaller character like Duncan, like that,
had the
because
red, had
yeah,
the redeeming.
exactly, has his redeeming moment that like he loves Cora and stuff. He sees that Hawkeye and her together and stuff, and that is obviously they have something and stuff. This is his way of redemption and giving his life for it.
It's really
And
weird
how
too.
Hawkeye puts him out of his misery too, because they burn him at the stake.
Oh
So and
yeah.
he shoots him to kill him instantly, so he doesn't have to suffer. I mean, all of that is just fantastic.
Uh, um, I mean, it's funny watching that, and the scene on the mountain after Magua kills Uncas. Um,
You mean the
and,
most beautiful mountain range ever shown in a movie? Like,
and Magua's
it's
standing there.
gorgeous.
He's standing there after killing him, and it was weird. It was really weird watching this. It's like he's sitting there, and he's trying to get Alice to come to him.
Mhm.
He's trying to get him to come to him, and then he lowers his knife. He lowers his knife, and he's trying to. And what really made that interesting to me was the fact that before he wanted to kill them both. He wanted
Yep.
them to both be under. And I thought what I thought was really interesting was the fact that, what does it matter to you if she goes out that way? You wanted her dead. And
Yeah.
what really caught me was surprise. It was the fact that he's sitting there trying to get her away from that mountain, away from there. And it was like, why are you doing that? Why are you showing, you
I
know,
think he just want. I think I might have an answer for that. I think he wants to kill her himself, and like he wanted to with her sister with Cora, the two of them, because I remember in the book, I don't know, it's not like stated that like it's pretty subtle. It's not really stated in the movie, but like Mago, I think he blames Monroe, the
right,
father, for the death of his family. So he has a personal vendetta against him and his seed. That's why he carves his heart out and says, like, I'll wipe your seed from the earth forever. And he holds the heart. That's a great fucking scene, too.
You're right.
But, I think that's what it might be, because like they give those little hints, but I remember it being a little more prevalent in the book. Like maybe they said like what happened to Magwa's family or something, but I think that might be it.
You would have thought before they were being, because look, as soon as he left and left the Huron camp and started hiking home, why, what I'm thinking, and this is sort of weird, but I'm thinking that maybe he had a change of heart, like toward the very, very end. I'm like, because why the hell, okay, you got the girl, you're on your way home. All you have to do is just go there, just like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to drag your ass all the way back to my camp. Why should I? Why don't I just put you on your knees here and slit your throat? I mean, he could have did that right then and there, and I just thought it was really interesting in the fact that he didn't do that, and then when he was trying to bring her back from the cliff, I thought that was just like,
it's a great moment that really makes you wonder what's going through his mind.
Yeah, I mean,
it teases you that little bit. Like, is he being sincere? Like, is he would he not stab her if she came to him and kill her, or would he just, like you said, just like slit her throat instantly if she walked back up to him? And they don't have to say anything. There's no words spoken in the last 9 minutes of the movie until the monologue.
How about, I mean, poor Alice. I mean, she just she was the rails. I mean, she went out. She was. She was driven, crazy from the very first attack. It went from being an adventure for her to all of a sudden it's like, this is not really where I want to be at.
I think that might have been. Yeah, go ahead.
How about the battle tactics too? And you get a good example of the battle tactics of the British, and you see how just outmaneuvered they were, and. I mean, hell, even though they were forced to give up their fort, they were that was still warfare they could understand. They couldn't understand.
No, the Native American, the Indians were attacking. Not at all. They like the completely different ways of taking over, like camp and killing people and stealth and stuff like that, and tools too. I mean, look, most of the Indians with the tomahawks and knives and shit like that, and they're scalping people and stuff. The British and the French and stuff are using muskets and shooting each other. But I mean, that's Hawkeye's name comes from the fact that he's amazing with a rifle. And so, because I know you were saying last night to me about how accurate all the shootings are.
Dude, I mean, that guy was video game accurate.
Yeah, and that is the reason for Hawkeye, though, is that's why his name is Hawkeye, is because he's supposed to be amazing. But a lot of them are, though. A lot of the characters are. So I get your point.
1757. Let me tell you, JT, a rifle in 1757 was the movie was based on.
Yep.
You would be lucky to stand in your bedroom and shoot a target and hit it with your rifle.
Absolutely. No, you're right.
I mean, every shot they were hitting. I mean, every shot. It was like, damn, this is like, like I said before, it was like Lone Ranger shit, like everything the Lone Ranger shot at, he hit, it's like
that impossible 100% ratio.
Oh yeah. When those armies would meet on the field back in the 17, even all the way up to the Civil War, they would march and come together, stand together, like maybe like 25, 30 yards and shoot at each other. Hoping they hit something.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. And they wouldn't. And a lot of times they would not. Yeah.
That was the only weakness of the movie. I mean, I have to admit that was probably the only weakness.
It's a great point, because when people watch my reviews and stuff, know how I watch movies and my mind state and stuff. I always question like movie logic and why is this happening, and why this and why that and stuff. And even the greatest movies of all time have stuff like that in it, and that's like you just said with Mohicans. That's one of them. That's something I could pick apart all the hell. Like Scarface. Look at Scarface. I just rewatched it the other night. It was on, and like when he's in the club, and the two guys try to take him out, There's no fucking way he didn't take more than a bullet or two. Like he took, and he had his arm in a sling. That they show the bullets like just missing him by mere millimeters and stuff like that. He's rushing out of there. Every time I watch it, I say, "Get the fuck out of here!" But it's still a masterpiece movie. It's not something that's gonna take it down from me or anything, but it's something I'm still gonna see and react to. As that's stupid as hell. There's no way that's happening, and that's I agree with that. All the combat in Mohicans is like that. Yeah,
it does take away. I was watching a movie the other day, and with one of my favorite actors, and he faces off against another bad guy, and they both shoot at each other, and he kills the guy he's shooting at. He kills, but he gets shot in the gut. He gets gut shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. There he is.
Oh, yeah. Are you fucking kidding me, Al?
Yeah. You think
you haven't seen either?
Yeah, and there he is.
Here's the
waking up. He's got some girls taking care of him, and saying, try to get you to the hospital. No, I'm all right. He gets up, gets in his truck, drives the truck over to his other cabin, and then proceeds to take out the bullet out of his gut.
Yeah,
it's just like I like the guy who I like the actor who did it.
Yeah,
but that's some bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how I always grew up watching movies. And I said backstage, and my father introduced me to this movie like when it came out or the year after. And I was 4 or 5 years old. This is before Halloween. I saw Halloween at 6. That was my first horror movie. So this was even earlier, and it became a movie that we would watch all the time. And like this, I loved this movie so much that as a kid, I used to have like the Cowboys and Indian figurine. I would reenact the final scene with the Cowboys and Indians and shit, and the exact tomahawk wings and everything.
Like at least you know this. At least you know when you're doing that. Once in a while, you miss. Which is a lot more.
Absolutely.
You say about Hawkeye.
That's where it started. Back then, when I'm playing with fucking Cowboys Indians, say, wait a minute, it don't hit every single time, and this is a lot harder to recreate that and look at that movie. I don't
know. Honestly, I really don't know. And the bat is in the house. Hate to say, I haven't seen either of the.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Are you serious earlier?
Wow.
Come on, Al.
Well, Al is here. Should we take a time out real quick to I sent this to you. I asked Al, I told Al, I says, hey, you got to come over and do a Clash of the Titans with us. And he said on the 23rd, he's got a date open on the 23rd of March.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I was thinking about this. I don't know. You guys can, you guys can say no to this or not. But I was thinking we could do our 3 movies. It would be our favorite cat movie, our favorite bat movie, our favorite insect movie.
Okay, all right, I can settle for that. That's a good idea.
I'll do my favorite cat movie. Al can do his favorite bat movie. That means Al can do Ingrid Pitt. He could do Ingrid Pitt.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you can find
he loves doing Ingrid. He wishes he can do Ingrid Pitt.
Man, that girl
back in the day.
I saw that was the first time I ever saw her when I watched Al's there. Then I watched Vampire Lovers. I was sitting there going, holy crow.
Are there? I mean, the closest I can think of is like Mosquito or some shit from 90 something. That's I can't think of a Kill a Gnat movie.
I don't think there's any Gnat movies.
I know there's Mosquito.
What about The Swarm? That would count as
actually, that's true. I haven't seen that movie forever. That could be something. But an insect movie that frees it up a lot. A lot of those. I'll try to keep it to winged, insects. I was ones that fly around.
And there's so many movies with bats in it. There's so many.
I'm not going to pick fucking Arachnophobia or something.
Oh, why not?
I know, but it doesn't make sense because they'll fly and it's nothing like a gnat. So I'll stick to like flying insects.
But yeah, but that counts. There's flying spiders.
Yeah, but I wouldn't take it because it's not my favorite insect movie though. So that's why I would.
Oh, okay. What is your favorite insect movie?
I have no idea actually. I mean, that's a very like niche category there. Let's think. I don't know.
Wait a minute. Doesn't Godzilla?
Phenomena from Argento?
wait, how about Godzilla versus Megasaurus? That's a bug.
I don't remember if I've seen it or not. I I was never big into Godzilla. I've seen a lot of the older ones, but I don't know the monsters' names and all that shit.
Let's see. Yeah, but there's one called Bug from the 1970s. Alice mentioning roaches fly. They
Really?
do. They fly.
Yeah.
We should make a killer gnat movie. We should.
Yeah, we should. That's exactly what we should do.
I was thinking, that was the only thing that came up when I was starting to. I was thinking, man,
Mothra.
we
I
could
know
do a
Mothra.
cat, bat, and a gnat movie. I'm going like, I don't think there's any movies with gnats, but I'm thinking,
Yeah.
well, it'll be a bug, it'll be an insect.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I can definitely think of something like that. And yeah, Mothra. I know Mothra. Yeah, yeah.
Mothra, hell yeah,
I
do
mostly know
Mothra.
Mothra because it's Mothra. It's a moth, so I know
Right.
that I remember the character from that movie.
Dude,
And well, he's
that
been
would
in
actually be
multiple.
really fun if you did Mothra for that.
I would have to rewatch that and everything.
I love Mothra, but the only thing
And
about Mothra,
everything, like that's a huge task to rewatch it. I mean, I have to rewatch it.
the only bad thing I'm doing Mothra movie is that Mothra always dies at the end of the movie.
That's true.
She's always getting
I
waxed.
guess. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't remember. I
And
don't
Al,
remember. I think
there's
I
a
saw
lot.
the original.
There are a lot of movies with bats out there.
Oh, that
A
yeah, for
lot of
sure.
movies.
That's why he's got the easy one. I mean, you too. There's a lot of killer cat movies,
Yeah.
especially if I mean, if even if you broaden cat to any type of feline species, like tigers, and like any type of creature like that, that's a cat in some way. Then you got a whole thing that you can go into with movies.
I don't know what cat movie I would do. I mean, man, I wish there was a Disney movie that they came out with more of a documentary called Cheetah. Man, I would love to do that. I'd love to do Cheetah. I'd love to find a movie about a cheetah.
It's not
Uh,
a full movie, but the middle segment from Tales from the Dark Side, the movie,
uh,
that with the cat, that's a
yeah.
great segment. That would be a cool one,
Well,
but it's not a full movie.
you got Cat's Eye from the '80s Stephen King, where you can always revisit him. There are a lot of Sleepwalkers, of course, with another Stephen King movie.
Yeah. Yep,
He like
Sleepwalkers. Sleepwalkers is fun. That one gets not enough love. It shouldn't get like love, but it gets hated on too much. Sleepwalkers. Al says we
Al
should do
says that
3 shows. Cat movies, bat
yeah,
movies, and his.
you know what, I'm down with
I like the
that
way
too.
I like the way you think.
I like the way you think too. I think we should do that. We could do it in March. We could do it in because we all would bring something fun to the table. All right,
Yeah,
I'm with
that's cool.
Al. I'm with Al. So
Yeah,
the
I'm with Al too. Let's do that.
23rd, on 23rd we'll pick out which one to pick first,
Yeah,
and then each one can host the creature. So when we do the insects, you host it, and then when Al does bats, we'll go over to Al's, and then we'll do the cats. You guys can come hang out with me and the cheetah.
sounds good.
Uh,
That's gonna be
yeah,
cool.
that would be next Titans
Hey,
of
Connie.
Terror. Hi, Connie. Um, so we've
Oh
been
yeah, that's
talking a
right. Your
little.
next Titan
We've been
terror.
talking a lot about. We've been talking a lot about Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, let's veer over to
I gotta bring my boy in.
let's veer
Antonio
to
Banderas.
the 13th
The
Warrior.
13th Warrior is one of my very favorite movies. It is an action-packed movie. It features a poet who catches the eye of somebody in court in Baghdad, and he gets named an ambassador to a tribe, you know, and that's just a way for him to get out of there without him losing his head. So hey Jerry, how are you?
Hey,
Um,
Jerry.
so
Um,
he gets him and his counselor Omar Sharif. Omar Sharif's last movie,
Omar
by the way.
Sharif is he's
Um,
great in this.
if you want to talk about a romantic movie, though, a long ass movie. When you think of Omar Sharif, you instantly think of Doctor Zhivago, one of
Yeah,
the classic movies. But man, I don't know if I can handle that.
that's a movie I haven't seen in forever.
I think it's like it's almost like
That
Full
would be
House.
an experiment going back to watch that.
I did. I saw it at the theater. I
Yeah,
remember going. I remember seeing it at the theater, and it was fucking forever. I mean, it seemed like it was on for a long. I had no idea. I've only seen it the one time.
See,
I've never sat down with it and rewatched it.
and see, this
I
is why I love doing these Clash of the Titans, because, like you said, like this is one of your favorite movies, The 13th Warrior,
oh,
and
this is an
I
exciting.
haven't I haven't seen this movie before I rewatched it last night in 15 years, maybe like more, like I don't even know the last time I saw that movie. So, and like, alternatively, favorite my second favorite movie of all time is Last of the Mohicans. And how long has it been since you've seen it?
The Last of the Mohicans has been a minute. I have to admit it. It's been a
Yeah,
minute.
so I think
The
it's
13th
that's why I
Warrior,
love doing these.
I've seen the 13th Warrior probably an average of once a year for the last 5 or 6 years. It's one of those
Yes,
movies.
exactly. Yeah, like that's how I
Yeah,
watch Last of the Mohicans. I watch it several times a year,
yeah.
going back
I
30
will put
years
that.
almost now, or
Yeah,
over that.
I will put that movie
Crazy.
on, and I'm down with it. Um,
Yeah,
I,
I think
I
that's why it's so interesting doing these, because, like we said, this never really is a versus thing. Like one of us hates with one movie and
no,
loves one, and one hates the movie and
you
loves the
love
other one.
them.
Like, yeah, for the most part, for everyone that we've done so far, the three, we mostly love every movie. Like both of
Oh,
us,
every
we just
movie.
have
And I got
our
like I said,
takeaways on both.
I admit it before, even before we got on the air. I admit it that if it had to come down to either one or the other, if I had to choose just one, I would have to go with Mohicans too. Um,
Yeah.
though that's no law, that's no slap
Yeah,
at
not at all. And
13th
I
Warrior.
couldn't even I could see the argument from anyone that the 13th Warrior is a more fun watch, a more fun
Definitely,
movie. I could see that 100%. If someone said that to me, I
it
think it's a
definitely
lot
had
more fun.
yeah, it definitely had more, I would say, gallows humor in a sense, but a
Yeah.
bittersweet humor. I would sit there and see,
Yeah, little cute
after
lines that come out now and then from some of the characters, and from Banderas
well,
and
how about when they got to the camp, to the Viking camp, and the king's son is basically just there to cause trouble, and
yeah,
and and they say, well,
kills his brother.
we need an example. And so the smallest of the Vikings challenges the biggest of the Vikings, and they
Yeah.
had that fight. They had
Oh,
that
that's
fight where
great.
they break the shields. And I think what I think the contest was, whoever like whoever broke the first shields first. Like they each had 6 shields, and whoever had the busted shields for whoever had the most shields afterwards, they would either win or they could continue the fight without the shields. And
Yeah.
so, Antonio Banderas, his character sitting there, he's seeing his new friend, and his new friend, and he sees that he's, on the surface, he's outclassed. The other guy's twice as big as he is. His sword is like fucking as tall as his friend, and he's super strong, and and his friend cannot get in there to do anything, but he allows him to break his shields, gain confidence. After the sixth shield is broken,
Mm.
he doesn't yield. He just gets up and says, "Okay, I don't have any shields, but I'm still going to fight you. I'm still going to fight you." And
Yeah.
then the guy goes ahead and he basically kills him. He beheads him.
Yep. Which
And
is there's a few beheadings in the movie, which are all great.
Wolfgar says, it's a shame. It's a shame that it came down to that, because we'll miss that guy.
Yeah.
He was a
Yeah,
good.
those are the little emotional touches throughout the movie that, like we were talking about earlier,
Well,
that
it's
they're
already.
not
How
as
about a
plentiful
man?
as Mohegans, because I see it more as a more serious historical romance drama versus,
And
like, this
more.
13th War is much more of an action-packed, historical
I think it's
drama.
very much. I think it's based on historical fact. I mean, the way the
Oh, no,
Vikings
it
fought.
definitely is, for sure.
I
It's
mean,
more romanticized, if that makes
they
sense.
had like the costuming was pretty accurate at the time. I mean,
Oh, that's great.
the Vikings were, they were more, they were scavengers. I mean, nothing that they had was uniformed, like the British or the
Yeah.
Redcoats. They're all in
Yep.
uniform. The French, they weren't like that. They were just
Yeah, they took whatever they can get
right.
and
And
throw it
so,
around.
and I'm like, and look, there's there's a scene where there's a scene where Ahmed is sitting there and he's watching his friend fight, and he's scared for him, and he's telling the king like,
Mhm.
you got to do something, and he's like, the king's just looking at him like,
Yeah,
you
like,
don't
well,
you don't understand what we're doing here.
yeah, exactly. Like
You don't have
he's
you
out of
don't have a
his element of understanding.
right.
That's a big thing with both of these movies, which is another reason it's great pairing, is the clashing of cultures is
Yeah.
throughout both of these movies. I mean, Last of the Mohicans, you got the Native American cultures mixing with the British, with the French during the war and all that, all those cultures clashing and how things happen, like you were saying earlier, with how they just their war tactics alone, let alone everything else. Then you have the
Oh,
13th Warrior, you
I
same
always
thing.
wonder.
You have Ahmed going, from his land and then meeting Vikings and stuff, and he's in a completely different world. He's got to learn like
Well,
the way that
but
they are, and that
he
that
is
that
extremely
language
smart.
scene is great, like you said
Yeah,
backstage.
Ahmed is extremely smart. The fact that he sat there and
Yeah,
he knows he's being talked about, and he's sitting there and he's watching the words. He's watching the words, and then he picks up on the language, and then he starts speaking
that's a
in
great scene.
that is one of the best scenes in the movie for me.
Yeah.
And they're so shocked. They're so shocked. Like,
Yeah,
how do
I
you
know.
know
It's like,
my
how does
language?
this person able to do
How,
this so
how do you know my
quickly?
how do you know my language? And then you
I
hear
listened.
like, I listen.
Yeah,
Not
that's
like
probably one of my favorite scenes from rewatching
yeah.
it too. That was one of my
And
favorite scenes.
the intensity that he said it, like,
Yeah,
just I listened, and now I know what the bullshit you've been talking. You've been
yeah.
talking about
So
me
it's
and my
like, now
mom.
shut the fuck up now.
And he does that. He says, my mom is an honorable woman. And then at the end, he goes, unlike your mom, and then,
Yeah, yeah. It's like
and,
something like a pig something like insult. I forget what he says exactly, but it's fun. It's funny.
right, right. And
Great,
they get
great
all
scene.
fired up. And then, and I like the Bond, how the Bond, this is one thing I have to talk about too, about the 13th Warrior. And this is true. The 13th Warrior was really different in the fact that, other than Diana Venora, who played the king's wife, and Antonio
Yeah,
Banderas, there was nobody in the cast that you knew. The cast was
yeah.
completely unknown.
Well,
Not only
yeah. I
was it
mean,
unknown,
I think
not
the
only was
cast
it,
for Mohegans is way outweighs the
oh
cast
yeah,
in 13.
but I mean, as far as name recognition goes,
Yeah, yeah,
there's and there's and I
exactly.
look every once in a while. I look, and I only saw one other movie with one of the cast of the 13th Warriors in it, and it was Ahmed's friend, the one with the sword
Oh,
fight.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was him.
He did a voiceover for a cartoon. I have never seen any of those other actors that did that.
Yeah.
Never seen them do any other films
Yeah, I
that I
didn't
could,
recognize any of the others either, really. But I
didn't know
mean,
them. Didn't know them beforehand.
yeah, I
Didn't
haven't
know
seen
them
them since.
other than Diana
And
Venora.
they all do a great job. Like
Yes.
all the extras, like everything,
Oh my
and all
gosh.
the fight choreography is excellent. Like
I mean,
all of that.
for unknown cast, they did awesome. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
man, I didn't, and they all fit. I mean, I was reading some of the boards, and they're talking about how, people, the 13th Warrior is now a cult. I would consider a cult film. Mohicans is not. Mohicans was always accepted.
That's true.
Mohicans made a lot of money. It won some Oscars. Michael Mann was tied to
Yeah,
it.
the 13th
Uh,
Warrior went on to get, like, reappraised over time because it
right.
wasn't pretty well received. Did it recoup its budget? I don't think it
It,
did, right?
it,
It
it
had, like,
lost.
$100
It lost.
million budget?
Yeah, it had like 100. Had like a over $100 million budget. It lost its ass off the theater.
Yeah.
Mohicans got
Unfortunate.
made for 40 million, and it made over 140 million.
140, yeah,
And
that's crazy.
that's not even counting the DVD, which is one of the most popular DVDs ever
That's
made.
true.
I
Yes,
mean,
that is
even
true.
today, when you out there shopping for if you're out there shopping for anything, like
You're
if
gonna
you're looking
see
for
it
a
there.
movie, you're probably gonna find a copy. You'll find a copy of The Last of the Mohicans, far more than the 13th Warrior.
Oh, for
Uh,
sure, yeah.
for sure.
I mean, and I like you said, I mean, a lot of it has to do with, I think at the time too, that brought people into theater was the name recognition with a lot of the
Sure,
actors.
Daniel Day-Lewis is a huge star.
Yeah,
Madeline Stowe,
Madeline Stowe, yeah, and then you have Wes Studi
West
is
Studi,
fucking great, but I mean, how big was he at that time? It wasn't
Russell
that
Meek.
big
Well,
or
you know what?
anything really, right? I know we did Street Fighter a few years later. That movie's
I
like
think at that time,
ridiculous.
West Studi had done. Man, that might have been one of his first big roles because
I think it might have been, right?
he'd end up doing a
One
lot
of
of
them.
big movies. He ended up
Yeah.
doing including another cult film, a horror film called Deep Rising.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Uh,
I forgot
and
all about that.
he also played a cop in he also played a cop in he actually played a cop in Heat.
Oh yeah,
Michael,
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah,
Michael
yeah, yeah.
Mann.
He's been in
Yeah.
so many things. He's been in so much stuff, and he's an excellent actor. And Russell Means, that was his first
Yep.
role. That was his first film role. And I
Yes,
mean,
he
he does an excellent job as Chingachgook, who was the
Well,
last of
I'm
the
looking at West.
Mohicans.
I'm looking at West Studi in his IMDb page, and the very first
Okay.
movie that comes out for is best known for Last of the Mohicans. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I figure he probably
that's
is.
right. He played the blue. He played the Phoenix in Mystery Man,
Oh yeah.
or the Sphinx. I think the Sphinx. Oh my God, that that's right. That's right. So he
Like
was in Deep Rising.
I always knew him most growing up from this and from Street Fighter, just because I loved Street Fighter, the games as a kid, and then the movie. It's not that great of a movie at all, but I have a lot of nostalgia for that movie.
Oh my gosh, I remember him. I remember him from the he did the detective series, Lee Porn and the Navajo, they're Navajo cops, and
Oh, okay.
yeah. And then I remember him from, of course, I remember him from uh, uh, Dances with Wolves. He was the main bad guy in that as
Oh,
well.
okay. Yeah, that's right. He's like one of those
Um,
actors that's in so many things that you don't remember him being in, and then when people bring up like we're doing now the movies that he's been in, it's like, oh yeah, he was in that too, and
oh
that,
right,
and that,
right.
and that. It's like, oh wow, I forgot how many movies this guy was in.
And the thing is, though,
He's
and
one of the
I'm
most
glad.
accomplished Indian, Native American actors. I think he was like one of the
Well,
first, or the
yeah.
first to receive an award and stuff for an achievement. I forget
Well,
the exact
well,
award.
think about one thing. Think about this. I mean, of all the cultures that get the least amount of screen time, it is
Absolutely.
always Native Americans. It's very,
Absolutely.
very rare to see them do a movie like Last of the Mohicans
Yep.
because it just doesn't get done. No, they're the most underrepresented,
Yeah.
community that I know.
In
Is the Native
America, and they're Native Americans. Don't you love this
Americans.
country?
Now we're starting to get a little bit more. Now we're starting to get a little bit more. I know as far as American goes, we're trying to get a little bit more. We're trying to do with reservation dogs. You have
Yeah.
Predator, with the Predator movie with Amber Mid Thunder. I mean, there's been a few more, but at the time, at the third of the Mohicans, there wasn't anything like that, and that's
Oh,
part.
for
I think
sure.
that's part of the appeal was like there wasn't anything on the big screen that featured Native Americans that that painted them in other than a like a cowboy Indian movie. Me make big smoke.
Yeah,
Me
yeah,
ah, ah,
exactly. Yeah, that
that sort
just
of
make
shit.
them do the stereotypical Indian role
Right,
stuff. Yeah.
right.
Hey, Matt's in the house. What's up, Pugwell? Love the
Hey
13th
Matt.
Warrior. Saw it in an empty cinema and have really fond memories of it. Great show, Chaspin. Got you on between work. Thanks for hanging out, man. And good to see you as
I,
always. Yeah, no, it's
uh,
such a great movie. It's such a fun. It was such a fun time rewatching the 13th Warrior last night.
so here we go. The 13th Warrior. I think really what makes me. I mean, I really enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed the sets. The acting to me is honestly, I really do think this. I'm not saying this to, but I think the acting on the 13th Warrior holds its own against the Mohicans. I really do.
Oh, it
Even though
does.
the
I
Mohicans
think I'd
cast,
agree. I agree.
I think they have a much bigger, much more accomplished cast. But I think for what the 13th Warrior, the story it was
Yeah, for
telling.
what it's asking, for what
Yeah,
they were being asked as actors and stuff. I think they do just as good a job.
now could I sit there and say, could those men, could that cast of that
Yeah,
movie,
yeah, exactly. No,
could
of
they come
course.
over? Could they come over and do the Last of the Mohicans?
Yeah,
I don't
no.
think I don't
Most
think so.
likely 99% of them, no.
No, I think they were perfectly cast, and that's both
For
for
the
the both.
type of movie that it was. Yeah,
Right. And you're right. I mean,
absolutely.
Russell Means, what a stroke of genius that to cast him.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
first time like acting in a film, and he just
oh my
absolutely
gosh,
destroys it.
one of the most, yes. I mean, one of the most,
The monologue at the end is one of the my favorite monologues in a movie too.
I
That's up
remember a
there.
lot of people, a lot of people were really, really surprised by the end of that, because I think what they were thinking about, the Last of the Mohicans, I really think, and a lot of people were sitting there saying this, they thought the Last of the Mohican, they thought it was Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
didn't
I
realize
know people
they
who
were
can.
shooting it.
Yeah,
They didn't, he was the
because he's
last,
adopted. He's Chingachgook's adopted son. He's his white.
but he wasn't the
Yeah,
focus of the movie.
yeah.
It was, it was Hawkeye and Clara,
I
but
mean,
at the end
they'll
they put
obviously people will make that connection just from seeing Daniel Day Lewis as the star and hearing the title, and
back
that
then.
alone will make people think that he's the last of the Mohicans.
I think I mean, you watch this scenery, and they're always running, like the opening scene where they're running after that deer.
Yeah, that
She,
is so great.
they were, I mean, they were running, and I mean, they just had to be in incredible shape for that role.
Yeah,
Now,
and
we were poking
speaking
fun a
of
little. We were poking fun a little bit about the gunplay, but there is
yeah,
one thing I will say was there is one thing I will say that was accurate, that I would be remiss in not commenting on, and that is when they were shooting after they shot and they were running and reloading the rifles. That
yes,
is accurate. That is accurate.
yes, absolutely,
Absolutely,
yeah,
they could do that. They could
yep,
run and change their rifle, change their powder
yep.
on the run.
Like
Um,
what I
in
love in the
fact,
end
if you
segment
remember,
when Hawkeye has you see him with his teeth take off the cap,
right,
so in order so he can refill or to reload. That's cool. Like I love that those little
I
attentions
thought
to
that was,
detail.
because I know you watch that movie, you watch that scene, and you get some people like saying, "Oh, that's some bullshit." No,
Yeah,
what's bullshit is they hit every target. But what
yeah,
of the bullshit is the fact they're able to run and reload at the same time
oh yeah,
and stop and fire. I mean, it was that was really cool. Now the
and
swordplay, what the
yeah,
swordplay in the 13th Warrior, I
it's
mean,
great.
like, even in the first battle, they were, or even in the very first battle when they were ambushed,
Mhm.
like they knew that they were going to come in and jump them at night,
Yeah,
and you start seeing the Vikings start to disappear. I thought it was really creepy. I'll tell you what was really creepy
it
about
is.
the fact they took their bodies,
Mhm.
because at the time the people that were there, they thought they were being attacked by a giant worm, fireworm.
Yep.
Now imagine that,
I love
and the way it looked.
I love the fantastical elements in it too, and
Yeah.
like the whole myth and stuff, like the prophecy, as we said, like
Oh,
the
it's
enemies at the Wendells and stuff, how they think they're like creatures in the night at first and stuff, like these legendary and then people like dressed in with skins, animal skin.
right. And they did it, and they knew full well what they were doing. Like they knew it was
Yeah,
creeping them out.
yeah,
And and it did look like it when they first saw it. It did look like, a giant worm,
yeah,
and it just showed how you overcame your fear to face your fear.
yep,
Um, it's sort of like one of the more memorable Rocky moments where he's fighting Ivan Drago, and he hits him, and he bleeds, and his man in his guy in the corner is going like, he bleeds. He's a man.
yeah, yeah.
He's not invincible.
It's almost like Predator. If it bleeds,
He
we
can
can
be
kill
hurt.
it.
So I mean, I thought the scene was the first scene, and they slowly were getting whittled down. I think both movies had another element into it, and that is whereas Hawkeye was trying to lead his party away from the Hurons through the water.
Hmm.
Is that the Vikings had to go through water to get away. They
Yeah,
had to also go
that's
through the
true.
water. They had to go into
Yeah.
the cave. They had to go into the cave, and
Yeah, that's great when they're gonna, and near the end when they start going into that cave, that
that,
gets pretty atmospheric. That gets pretty creepy.
and and I love I do wish they would have had just a little bit more character development of the bad guy. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I agree with that.
it would have been a little bit helpful,
Yeah.
but you know,
It's not I agree, it's not 100% needed just because of, like, the way that the enemy's presented and stuff, and the mythology behind it, or the way that they, thought of them before they found out exactly what it is, and that they were people and stuff. I think that kind of covers that mostly, but, like, where you don't really need any more explanation, but it would have been nice if
it
we
would have
got
been
a little bit more.
just a little
Yeah,
bit.
for sure.
You know, like
Yeah.
why are they why are they attacking? Um,
Exactly. Yeah, some type of little bit more attention paid to, especially the chief and the mother.
the mother
Yeah,
was
like
scared. The mother
she
was
was.
scary here. I mean, she didn't have to see to say any words at all,
Yeah.
but her look and that
The
long
design
fingernail.
of her is
I
great, and
mean,
yeah, and the claw dipped in poison, and all of that is cool, and the decapitation of her looks great.
yeah, yeah. Wolfgar took her out.
Yep.
Then he goes, there will be a hard fight to get away from this place. And then
Yeah.
they go down, and he knows as soon as he knows he got hit, he knew that he was in deep trouble. I think he knew from the second he got scratched that that was it for him.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, no, yeah, he
so
does, because he touches himself, because he walked in, and he sees her dipping it, or maybe I'm misremembering. Doesn't he see her dip it in the poison as he walks in the room?
he does, he
Right?
does.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So because when he touches himself right after he kills her and stuff, he
Yeah.
knows right then and there. He
Um,
knows that he's gonna die.
how about the one that gets me as far as there are emotional moments in the 13th Warrior, and one of them was as they're escaping down, they're trying to find the escape, and the one Viking, he's critically hurt, he's mortally wounded, and he says, "I can't
Mhm.
go any further." And he goes, "Today is a good day to die."
Yeah. Yeah.
He
That's a good
means it.
line.
He says there, and you feel the like I am proud that I'm going to make my stand right here.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere else. I'm buying you time with my life. It's a good day for me to be able to do that. And
Yeah.
that's one thing with the Vikings I really appreciated too in this movie was the fact that they would each sacrifice themselves for the next man over.
Oh yeah. The camaraderie between them is portrayed excellently through this movie.
So,
You really believe that the Vikings, brothers in arms and stuff,
yeah,
and they die by their sides and stuff, like, throughout all of it. That's why what you mean, like, they do a great job, despite,
um,
like, most of these actors never being seen again after that. Like, they do an excellent job at making that believable and making you really see them as these people are brothers in arms. They're going to kill for each other. They're going to die for each other if they have to.
I remember watching that one guy, the one Viking said that, for a second there, because he sounds just like him. But I actually thought it was Terry Funk for a second. Because
Uh,
he actually looks like him. He has the same type of voice as today is a good day to die. And he sort of it wasn't him, but it looked like him. Um, and then we're talking about historical accuracy, and that happened whenever like whenever a leader would get killed during the last fight. During the
mhm.
last fight, Wolfgar comes out king against king, and wherever the Indians used to fight the cavalry, if the cavalry or the cowboys, whoever it was, if they could shoot down the chief, the chief always had the biggest headband. It was always the brightest color. It was
Yeah.
like he was, and so they would shoot for that. They shoot and take out the chief. And a lot of times that would just, that would cause the war party to
Yeah. It would dismantle everything.
right. Same thing as in the 13th Warrior. As soon as Wolfgar kills him, and boy does he die hard. Um,
Yeah.
that ended the fight. And but before that, my most emotional moment I know for everybody watching The Last of the Mohicans, The most emotional moment is Chinguk versus Magua, without a doubt. There's
Oh
nothing
yeah.
else.
Oh
There's
yeah,
nothing.
you killed my fucking son. Now you
Oh,
die. That's the 100% how I've always seen it, and that's how they display it perfectly. And the look on Russell Means' face, and the music that's been going on that 7 minutes, 8 minutes at the time, and they're working their way up the mountain,
that
and
is
then the
that.
look on his face that like I'm gonna kill this guy when I get to him,
Yeah.
and that they just up the ante. Hawkeye's shooting people left and right. Now I love Chingachgook's weapon, whatever the hell that
Oh
is.
my
That
God.
handcrafted, like blue wooden, whatever it is.
That has to be that
It's
has to
great.
be one of the best villain deaths ever. When you talk about
Yeah.
villains buying it hard,
Hmm.
you have to go
Oh
back
yeah.
and point that out. I mean, yes, he did kill Uncas, and he killed him very bad,
Yeah.
but nothing like he got. I mean, he
Oh
got
no, here you go. I love all of that. Fucking rolls
man,
on the he would actually he gets intimidated at the very beginning when they finally get to Magua and Chingachgook runs up to him and rolls on it. Before he gets close to him, he drops his knife. Magua, he's holding a knife and a tomahawk, and he like goes like and he drops the knife because he's like intimidated and worried about what's this guy gonna do. So I think that's a great detail that they made him like drop the knife from being nervous, basically.
yeah.
Then he cracks his back up, his elbow, cracks his
You,
elbow,
you can
smashes
feel
him in the back. All that's
oh my
great.
God, you can feel every hit.
Oh yeah,
You can
and the
feel
sound
every
design
hit.
is excellent, and that's why it won best sound. The Oscar.
It's
The sound design
absolutely
is great.
my emotional moment
The
for
bone
the
crack
13th warrior.
stuff.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
My emotional moment for the 13th warrior that really got me, and it always gets me, it always brings tears to my eyes, is the fact where the at the last fight, there's only like 5 of them left, 6 of them left,
yeah,
and of the 13, and Wolfgar starts doing the prayer,
yeah. No,
and
that's
every man
great.
picks it up. Every man picks it up, including Ahmed,
Mhm.
Antonio Banderas. He knows the prayer and he picks it up at the very end. And I thought that was just such a heartfelt moment, and you just really feel that these
Oh, for
men
sure.
know that they're probably not going to come out of this alive. They're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
meet their,
They
they're gonna
know
meet
that
their,
it's pretty much a suicide mission because there's
it,
only what like 3 of them that survive it by the end, right? It's like 3 the
uh,
warriors
four,
and him,
three
3
warriors and men.
and him. Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, I
So
mean they knew going in like most of us aren't coming out of this.
no, no,
No,
and they're
that is
glad
a
they.
powerful.
And think about it. And they gave their lives for a tribe they really didn't know, a king that they really didn't know. The
Yeah,
king sent out help for everybody. He sent out help, and they were the only ones to come.
yeah,
And if you really look at it in a sense, you look at the 13th warriors, and you sort of get the same sense of 300. It's a
mhm,
300 against 500,000 Persians. Well,
absolutely.
it's supposed to be 6,500, but the 300 that Leonidas had,
Yeah,
you get that sort of like us again. We're gonna go out. We're gonna go out.
yeah. We're gonna go out.
Michael,
We're gonna go out fighting.
right? We're gonna go
Probably
out on our
not coming
shield.
out alive.
Um,
And to your point earlier, with like taking out the chief and stuff like, and that's another parallel with Mohicans too, because the same when he
yeah,
kills
yeah.
Magua at the end. What do you think happens to the rest of his tribe and stuff? Like they're all held at
Yeah, you're right.
gunpoint and stuff, and that's it. Like and then they have the monologue, Chingachgook's monologue.
Right, because
So
think about it. Think about it.
they're done.
After Hawkeye holds the rest of those Huron at rifle point, at
Yeah,
musket point. After Chinghook kills Magua, they don't shoot the Huron. They
yeah,
let them go. But
exactly.
The Huron have had enough. They're not coming back to
Yeah,
that.
they're not
They don't
fucking with
want
them.
they don't
Are you
want any.
serious? They saw all that stuff they just did. They're like, I don't want to be involved with these.
Like
We're good. We'll leave.
shit. They're going like shit, man. That guy's shooting everybody. He doesn't
Yeah,
miss.
yeah. Exactly. That's exactly what they're saying. They said we better get out of here. This ain't reality. We got to get
Uh,
back home. We
Well,
got to get back home
I'm
quick.
talking about. I'm thinking, damn, the British general, the colonel, he should have said, all right, man, I'm gonna let the militia go, man. I don't. I'm gonna let them go. I don't need that, man. I got you. I'll just put
Speaking
you
of
on the wall.
speaking of breaking reality and breaking me out of the movie, I did you see it when you rewatched it? When I mentioned to you about the one thing that
Oh, The
drags me
Rock,
out?
right?
Yeah,
No, I have to go back
and
there and look at The
yeah,
Rock.
it's once you see it, you can't unsee it. And if
Oh,
anyone who's watching like doesn't know what I'm talking about, in the last, the whole battle sequence at the end on the mountains and stuff of Last Mohicans, when Hawkeye comes out of a cave and screams Uncas's name, when Uncas gets killed and falls down the mountain,
okay.
he comes out of the cave and he falls, like he trips and his arm hits a rock and it jiggles because it's a fake foam rock, and you could see it, and it bothers me every time for
Then
30
what
plus
I
years.
do you think they saw that? I didn't. You know what? I don't know if the. I don't think. I think they shot that on location. I don't
Nah,
think they didn't. Did they?
they either that some of it was shot on location. I don't know if that specific shot of him coming out of a cave was like on a soundstage and it was a built cave and he just came out of the entrance. That it
Okay.
could have been that, or it could have been that they added boulders and
I
rocks and
was
stuff
wondering. I was
to
wondering how they shot
that.
that shot where they're running on the cliff like that. Because I'm going like, there's just
Yeah.
no way they're going to let the talent run, make that kind of run.
Oh,
There's
well,
no way they're going to run up the side of a cliff. That like with a steep
I
edge.
know. Yeah, I mean, when
I,
Uncas
I was
first
wondering.
starts
I
climbing up and
was
stuff.
wondering how they did it. I was like,
Yeah,
did they? Was that live or Memorex?
yeah,
Uh,
or just very, very clever editing.
yeah, I was
To
thinking to
make it
myself,
look
I'm
like
like,
that.
man, that's some real, that's some that's
Take 10 different shortcuts of them vastly moving up, periodic spaces basically, and then edit it together so it looks like they're really.
the locations was just absolutely beautiful. I
Yeah,
do believe. I do believe they did shoot it in on location. I think
North Carolina, I think is where they shot most of
it,
the movie.
it would be great to get. I don't know if this has happened. I know that I don't know, and I have to because I saw my copy here. I have a hard copy of it. I
I do
just
too. I mean,
do they have a
I
do
still
they have
have
a
some
commentary?
DVDs and stuff. Oh, you mean the
Uh,
book you're talking about?
no, do they have director's commentary on the
Oh,
movie?
there's a whole director's cut that's like 5 minutes longer and stuff, because some people will notice if they've seen this movie a handful of times or seen it on TV and stuff, they usually use like a footage from the director's cut because the monologue's slightly different at the end.
Okay.
And I've seen the director's cut, but I always watch the actor. That's the one I grew up with. That's the one I know. So anytime, like if it's on TV, sometimes they'll use that ending monologue from the director's cut, and it always throws me off. And I'll be like, "What? Oh, okay, this is the director's cut." Because I said, "Yeah, those aren't the words I know in my whole life." So, and that's my most emotional moment in that movie for me is his monologue at the end.
I do believe that as far as a runtime goes, I think Mohicans was like wasn't quite 2 hours, and I want to say the 13th Warrior was a little bit longer than that. Um,
Yeah, I think it is.
let's see. No, actually,
No,
shorter.
they should be. They should be right around the same. If not, I
Last
think Mohicans might
Mohicans
be
was
longer.
yeah, Mohicans 112 minutes, and 13th Warrior 103 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was made between 85 to 160 million and only made 61 million dollars back to the box office.
Wow.
And I can tell you though, right now that the DVD made a lot of money. Made a lot of money.
Well,
I
yeah,
do.
because like we said, it got a lot more popular as years went on and got reappraised.
I do wish that the would actually do that. If they actually did that, if they really think about it, like they always say, the box office, the box office. You know what? I think when you calculate the cost of a movie, I think you should include the home sales.
Yeah,
I do.
it could.
I think you should. Like okay, the movie made $60 million at the box office, but it made another $30 million for the home
Yeah,
market.
exactly.
All of a sudden, the movie goes from making $60 million to being a bomb to all of a sudden you're making $90 million and you're making money.
No, you're
You're
right.
making.
I think they always thought that they should include that. I don't know
I
why
agree.
I don't know why they just use domestic. Yeah, I'm domestic and international. box office, and that's it, and stop there.
Well,
Sometimes they will specify, like often actually, if you look movies up, they'll specify it, but like not as often as it should be, and it's not added to, the gross of the movie really. They always just talk about the box office.
I want to talk a little bit about our two main men a little bit. Daniel Day-Lewis, who has
Yeah.
retired. He retired.
Yeah,
He
I
chose
heard.
to retire, and he retired. Some of the
Very
cast, like
mysterious
your cast
man
is much
too.
bigger than ours. Madeline Stowe went on to do several other films. She became a star after this film,
Yeah,
and um,
she's
and ended up
gorgeous
doing
too.
a lot of. She did a lot of films, including Jennifer 8 and Blind, and she also did a TV series called Revenge for I think 4 or 5 years. It's been sort of quiet as late. Jodie
Yeah.
May, who played Cora,
Wow. Yeah.
um, you don't really ever see her over on this side of the pond, she has still stayed acting, and she has done a lot of work in the UK, where she was born and raised
Interesting.
at. Yeah,
Yeah, because
she's
I never saw her really after that movie.
no, no. Um, she went ahead and did a lot of TV series in the UK, a lot of detectives, and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, still looks the same. Still looks
Good.
really pretty.
Oh, good.
Of
Yeah,
course,
she both of them, Madeline Stowe and Jodie are beautiful, absolutely
yeah,
beautiful women.
I definitely agree with that.
And
Diane
let's look.
Venora.
We should say about Daniel Day-Lewis. He, but obviously, he's always known as one of the greatest method actors or greatest actors even of all time. This guy always just never broke character and got into roles in such an intense way. For this movie, he was like living in the wilderness for like a month beforehand, and like making fires and learning how to skin game and stuff like that just to get into the role for this movie. That's insane. Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was out in the woods like for a month or more, like something like that, and just like living off the land and everything just to research for the role. And I mean, it shows,
very,
and that's
very,
how he is
very
with
well known.
all of his performances. He's always like that. He's
Now
one of
he went
the
on to
greats.
win. I think how many Oscars did he win? 3 or 4.
3 or 4 sounds right. I'm not sure which one, 3 or 4, but
I liked him
I
in every
mean,
role that he has done. Every role that he has done, I have
yeah.
liked except for one.
Hmm.
One role, I didn't like his role in that movie, and I didn't like the movie either.
Which one?
Um, The Gangs of New York.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Did
yeah.
not like it at
I
all. Did
didn't
not.
really. I haven't watched that movie in forever. It's all right. I
It's
never cared for that movie like
the ending.
too
The
much.
ending is just one of the most unsatisfying, one of the most emptiest endings ever.
I
And
don't
I
even
was so
remember.
it just petered into nothing.
That's
Remember
probably why I don't remember it.
they had the riots of New York, 18 during the
Yeah.
Civil War, and then the gangs were fighting,
Hmm.
and you see slowly but surely they all pretty much die out during the last
Yep.
fight, and then it fades away, and it shows this little plot of land where they all were buried at, and then it
Oh,
shows
okay. Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
modern.
It is a bad ending. I remember
It's a
it. Yeah.
bad ending. It's a bad ending. I think
I
that was a
wonder.
Steven Spielberg movie, and it was horrible.
Yeah, I never cared for Gangs of New York. When it came
No,
out, I watched it, and it's all right. And then just never really watched it again. I don't think I've ever
no,
seen that movie again since it came out.
nope. I've never seen that movie again either. It's like I just, there's some movies that you'll see and you'll like, yeah, like I've seen copies of it out there, but I have no interest in it, so I don't buy it. It's like I don't want it. I don't want to see it. It's not very good.
Yeah.
So though
Which
though
is
though
which is rare for a Scorsese movie.
yeah. Was it Scorsese? Yeah, it was Scorsese. I
Yeah,
wasn't
Scorsese.
Scorsese.
Oh yeah, you said it's Spielberg.
I
I don't
thought
know
it was
why I
Spielberg
thought
or
Spielberg
Scorsese.
sounded right until it kicked in. No, that's Scorsese.
Yeah, because
Because that's
because
that, yeah, because I don't think of it when I think of Scorsese movies because I don't like it.
Hi,
Like that's
Stacy. How are you?
hey Stacy,
Uh, glad you're here.
how
Glad
you
you're
doing?
here. We are talking about the 13th Warrior and the Last of the Mohicans.
Indeed.
What else? The one I haven't seen that he won an Oscar for was there will be blood or there must be blood or something like
Yeah,
that.
there will be blood. I
I
think.
have not
Yeah.
seen that movie.
I
No, I
don't.
hear.
No, actually, I don't think I saw it either. I
Um,
don't think I saw There Will Be Blood. I know
um,
I've heard of it for all these years, but
right.
no, I never saw it.
Of course, Antonio Banderas. He continued his fine career, and I'll say this again, and because like many of us, I went and saw Shrek 2, where he played Puss in Boots, and I just absolutely it just floored me when the first time I saw the movie. I thought I was gonna I couldn't catch my breath. My wife's looking at me like, man, really? It was just so funny, when he turns around when they're chasing him, when the cops are chasing him, he turns it off the eyes, and I just lost my shit. I was laughing so hard, my stomach was hurting. But after that, every time I saw an Antonio Banderas movie, all I could do was hear Puss in Boots, and it was like, it's like, man, that's just, it's like, like, oh, here's Puss in Boots. But I was so glad to know that when I was watching The 13th Warrior, I did
That
not.
you didn't hear it. Yeah.
Oh, oh my gosh, that would have been so crushing to me for
I know. It's
after
like,
watching one of my
no,
favorite
I'm trying to
movies.
get into this. Yeah, I know. Now I
Wow.
cannot hear it. I mean, that's what will happen if you look at The Rock in Mohicans at the end. You'll never
It
unsee
says,
it.
Stacy says that Daniel
Yeah.
Day-Lewis won For My Left Foot. Oh, I remember that. Oh, Christy Brown. I read his story in a Reader's
Yeah.
Digest, and then I read a
Oh,
book.
yeah.
Yeah, I
There
remember
Will
that.
Be Blood, we
There
were
will be
talking
blood.
about. And Lincoln, yeah, was the other one.
Reading. Oh wow. Okay.
Lincoln was
He
all right.
played.
I saw that in theaters when it came out, and that's like outside of my usual wheelhouse of movies, of genres and shit. Like
Oh
I'm not
my,
big on historical movies unless it depends on the movie, but it's not really my go-to genre or anything like that. But for some reason, I went and saw Lincoln. I enjoyed it for the most part, but never saw it again. Never saw it since. But I think he did a fucking unreal job of
he won
playing Lincoln.
3 out of 6 nominated. He was nominated for six times. He
Yeah,
won 3. Let's see, he had only 20 movies and the most winning ratio being nominated. He lost
the
for The
boxer.
Boxer,
That boxer
In the
was
Name
good.
of the Father, and Gangs in New York. Oh God, he got nominated for that.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, he lost though, so but just getting nominated. I didn't like his character actually. Now I'm thinking about it. Didn't he have like the long like beard and the
yeah,
monocle?
his
Am I thinking of
eye.
Mr. Peanut? His eye. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Remember, he looks. His
He
eyes look like
reminds me of
marble.
Mr. fucking Peanut for some reason. When I was
Mhm.
like me trying to recall the image in my head of what his character looked like in that, I'm thinking of Mr. Peanut. I thought he had a monocle, but his eye, that's what it was messed up. But
It
the
says,
boxer was good. I remember like
it says here, I will find you as a top 100 movie quote.
yeah,
Yes,
absolutely. I would say so for sure. Yeah. If
I
you
would
stay
say that.
alive,
Actually, personally, I would say that would be one. And honestly, Helen, I'm not saying this because we're talking about the movie, but I would say when the Vikings did their prayer, when the Vikings did their prayer, I
yeah,
would definitely say that would be a top 100 for me. It's just the
yeah. No,
way they did it.
it's a great moment.
Yeah, I think it's a great moment too. It definitely one of the most emotional moments of that film. Um, yeah, that was definitely definitely broke their. Yeah, it's sort of a shame. You sort of think of if Daniel Day Lewis had done the Mohicans after he had done, because I think he did the Mohicans before he did any other movies.
Yeah.
Um, no, he said in the oh no, Layla's Foot was
No,
89.
yeah. The first one he won was
I'm
before.
surprised you didn't. I would have to go back to see who was nominated in '92. I would really like to see. I would really like to see who was up on that year. Um, because I definitely think he deserved at least a nomination for it.
Let me see. I'm pulling it up now. 64th Academy Awards, 92. Best. Let's see.
Oh, Stacy, I told my dog that a couple of times, when he or she runs loose, I let them know to come back to me after running and getting their exercise. She says, "I will find you." Yeah.
That's
Well,
funny.
yeah. Remember the last time we heard that though. I will find you. You know,
that's
I do
funny.
have, I have a set of particular skills that I've honed over a long career. I will find you.
Oh, that's right. Silence of the
Yeah,
Lambs.
take it.
Silence of the Lambs. Won Best Picture
Oh, wow.
in '92. Yeah.
Wow, 92. Wow. Okay. Ah, ah.
Yeah, no, I
You know
mean,
what? Honestly,
I don't agree. I think this should have. I think Mohican should have won, but
yeah,
Silence
I'm with
is
you. I'm
amazing.
with
I
you.
mean, great
You know
movie.
what? I like the Silence of the Lambs. I do, and I enjoy reading the book, but I do, but I definitely, I think I would have with Mohicans too.
Hey,
I
Ned.
do. I think this is a really great movie.
Yeah.
Mm.
What's going on in that?
But I'm just bummed out he retired. I mean, Antonio Banderas has still been working.
Yeah.
He's done very well. He's done very well. Diane Venora, who played the king's wife in this movie, is the only other
Was
actor
it
in the 13th
92?
Warrior that was probably known, and she was a character actress, and people might remember her mostly from a movie called Wolfen that came out. I want to came out in
Oh,
the
that's right. She makes a good point, Stacy. The 91 movies are judged in 92, so it would be 93 who
yeah.
would beat it out.
I just can't imagine. Yeah, I can't
Good point.
imagine. Uh, let's see. The Last of the Mohicans isn't her favorite. Oh, of course. Of course, we understand that. I mean, not everything is everybody's favorite, but
Yeah, absolutely.
here are these are two of the top notch films for us. Um, and yeah,
This movie is so ingrained in, like I said, my life and everything, and my relationship with my father, and him introducing me to it at a young age, stuff this is just fun JT trivia, I guess. Just like playing with the Indian figurines and recreating the battle sequences again. That to this day, still, my father nicknamed me. He took the name Uncas. He calls me Uncas since I was a kid because of this movie. He's been calling me Uncas my entire life as like a nickname. So, I mean,
no,
that's how
no,
ingrained this movie is.
no one has called me
Like in
Ahmed.
me.
Ella,
No one's called you Ahmed. No, I'll call you Ahmed.
or they have never called me Antonio. But of course, Antonio Banderas has had a great career as well. God, think of all the hits that guy's had. I mean, he's been in so many hit movies.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I
I tell
never
you,
really cared much for Antonio Banderas. Like, he's a great actor, but I never like. Again, most of his movies are outside of the type of movies I watch. Like 75% of what I watch is horror movies and thrillers and stuff like that. I don't really watch action flicks, and like especially the last 15 years, I don't know how many action movies that I've watched. Hardly any, which
well,
is
I remember
surprising.
watching one movie, and I have to go back and
Not
revisit it
surprising.
again. He did one movie that he was infamous for, and it was Sever versus X. And man, that was criticized for one of the worst movies ever made. I watched it a couple of times. I watched it 2 or 3 times. It was Antonio Banderas and Lucy Liu and Ray Park. And
Yeah.
honestly, they needed to give Ray Park a speaking role. It would have saved the movie if they would have let him speak. Like to give him, just instead of fighting, if he actually would have had a part, he could have sunk his teeth into. It really would have helped the movie out a lot, and it didn't. But the fight scenes were pretty damn good. I mean, they were pretty interesting. Um, of course,
Yeah.
he's done great movies and Spy Kids. People forget that now.
Spy Kids.
Spy
Forgot
Kids.
all about that movie.
Yeah, Spy Kids is the shit. That's a
Yeah,
fun that's a fun
that's a
series.
fun movie
And
actually.
that was also done by Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, that's true. I forgot
Right.
all about that.
Yep. Robert Rodriguez.
No one thinks of Robert Rodriguez and thinks of Spy Kids.
No, they always think him as a horror director.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And or
That's why
actor.
as soon as you said Robert Rodriguez, I said, what? That's right. I said, wait a
Yeah,
minute, that's
he
right.
did that.
That's so weird.
He also ended up doing a couple of animated. He did do a couple of Puss in Boots movies that did extremely well. I mean, I think the last one they did actually made more money than all the Shreks, except for, I think for the first one. The
Oh
last
wow,
one.
really?
Yeah. So I
I
mean,
can see
it
it.
was crazy. It was crazy popular.
Stacy said,
Uh,
I think Mohicans got technical nominations and was competing, but it came out too early in the fall and was out for Labor Day, then done by October. So Son of Woman, Heated Up, and Unforgiven was always favored. Cool.
God,
Thank you for that.
I'll say this right here. Unforgiven, so fucking overrated.
Yeah,
So
Son of a Woman is
overrated.
great. And Unforgiven, I don't remember the
That
last time
is
I
so
saw that.
overrated. That it is. There is nothing special about Unforgiven. There just isn't. There just isn't. I never
Yeah.
truly understand why people always fell on that. I'm going like, man, The Quick and the Dead was a hell of a lot more fun. That's a lot of fun.
The Quick
But
and the Dead.
Unforgiven,
I haven't seen that.
I just couldn't get it.
Quick and the Dead, actually, that is a fun movie. I haven't seen that since I remember. I had that on like a VHS tape that, like when you can record off TV, like when
Right.
VHS were able to, when VCR started doing that. I had like an old VHS copy of that, and I'd watch it every now and then. That's a fun movie. I haven't seen that in
That's
forever.
a tremendously fun movie, and
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
Quick and the Dead.
Unforgiven, yeah,
I
I don't know.
remember the trailer for it with the voice.
It's just it's a good movie, but it's not even in the top 50 best westerns. It just isn't. I can name you 50 best westerns better than that.
I,
Oh, I just don't get it.
I'm not a Western guy, really.
The Quick and the Dead,
There's some.
the one with Sharon Stone and Gene Hackman and Russell Crowe. I know there's been a
Yes.
couple other ones made out of there.
Yeah. I was just gonna
Man.
say which one.
See, yeah, Mohicans won for best sound. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier and how well deserved it is. I mean, the sound design's
Um,
excellent, absolutely excellent in that movie.
Tonio did Original Sin with Angelina Jolie. I heard that was pretty good. I heard that was decent.
I never saw it.
I think it got more critical acclaim because of the pairing of Antonio and Angelina. I think Angelina gets naked in that movie, so people always have more interest in that.
um, I was reading. All right, so let's see. 5:30. Is there anything else that you wanted to say particularly about either movie or so?
No.
Or
I think we've covered it all.
yeah, I think everything that I had in mind for both I got out too, or you
Mine
brought up
too.
and it triggered me to remember, or vice versa and stuff. So
We will be back for the society on the we got to figure out who's gonna go first.
yeah,
Yeah,
which
I
animal
mean,
group?
yeah,
Cat films, bat
cat films,
films, and
bat films, and
insect splash, possible gnat films. I'm gonna research this. I'm gonna look out there. I'm gonna see, is there any movies?
I think Wasparilla would count as a gnat.
Yeah, that
Okay.
can count. Or like I said, like a mosquito, the
Oh my
movie Mosquito, like
Yeah,
that.
how about Mosquito?
That's close. That's
The-
those are all close. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna do some research and see if there's a movie
Can
about
I
a
just
gnat.
ask? I'm going to ask for one movie though, not to make it, even though I did suggest it earlier,
What?
because it's like
Swarm?
don't pick Swarm.
Oh no, I had no intentions of it. I mean,
Don't pick that.
I barely remember it. I don't really remember enjoying it.
No, I could not lie to you, man. If you would have picked Swarm, I'd be like, oh God, please, oh my God.
It's like, oh, we canceled this
Remember,
show.
we're picking the best of the best. So,
Yeah,
but if you do pick Mothra, we're so there for that.
that's like having Bird movie and coming in with Birdemic.
Oh God, yes, yes. And I gotta
We're
find.
waiting on the fourth
Al's gotta find.
Birdemic.
I'm gonna suggest. I don't know what Al's gonna pick, but I hope that he picks Nightwing because Nightwing was a badass movie. Man, I love that movie too. Nightwing from 1979, with David Warner and Catherine
Oh yeah,
Harold. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, Harold was so beautiful.
yeah,
And the cat movie, there's a lot of cats.
yeah,
There's a lot of movies with cats in it. I got to look at that and see which movie I like, because there are a lot of cats.
yeah, for sure.
I can
I
say
mean,
I can say one.
I think
I can tell you one movie.
I think Al got the biggest pool to pull from.
Yeah, I
From
think he
that
did
movie.
too. But I can
Yeah.
only tell you one thing: what movie we're not going to be watching on cat, and that will be we're not watching Pet Cemetery. So
Yeah.
you won't be seeing that. You won't be seeing that on my list.
That's Cemetery. It's one of my favorite King novels, but it's not a great adaptation
I'm not gonna,
at all.
you gotta watch some cat.
I don't really. I watch it. I like the movie. I'll watch it every now and then, but I never thought Pet Cemetery was a great movie. It's not. It's not in any way, in many aspects. But it's fun. It's as good as I guess they were able to do with the story. I mean, it's one of those that's one of King's stories that I think that you just can't really adapt like well. I mean, even it shows it again with the remake that they did. 2015 or something like that when they did the remake of Pet Cemetery. That did nothing for me at all. Like, I thought the original was better than that, and like I said, I don't think the original is a good movie really. So it's one of those stories that I just think it's better being read, and having it all being implied in your head, and your mind gets to come up with the images and stuff of what he's describing than seeing it on screen.
Stacey's mentioning about the movie about the British act, about the Michael Mann promoting the film, and it says here movies with British actress, let's see, didn't promote the story effectively at the time. Do you recall this? No, I don't remember that. He says he toured and went on the BBC in 1992 discussing the French Indian War from the British point of view and came across pompous, they said. I didn't think so.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Responding to some irksome query. I don't think Michael Mann's pompous in the slightest. Anyway, it hurt his funding for Heat, and the publicity for that movie as a result of the BBC Michael Mann controversy. Man, Heat
interesting. Yeah, interesting. I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that either.
And yeah, we were talking to Stacey earlier about the language scene. It's so good. That's one of the best scenes in the 13th Warrior.
It's Jinx the Cat from Meet the Parents on Mount Rushmore movies. Yeah,
Jinx definitely is up there. I just rewatched Meet the Parents like a month ago randomly, and I always loved that movie.
He was Siamese, right?
Shit.
Jinx was a Siamese cat, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Himalayan, right? Is it Siamese Himalayan?
Yeah.
My memory serves me.
They always get the cast meow roles, Siamese or they don't ever really show any cheetahs. So I'm gonna go look for that though. I'm gonna find a cheetah movie that I remember and like. Cat People, 1940.
I was gonna mention that when you mentioned cat movies. I was gonna say Cat People. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I think everybody does that. I think it's the first two movies that they go to when they think of cat movies.
That's why I didn't mention it because because I was like, that's like an obvious one.
Yeah, they always go for Sleepwalkers, and they always go for Cat People. Yeah. Which is really surprising that people go to Sleepwalkers for the cats when it has one of the weirdest scenes ever with the son and the mom, which is the weirdest. Yeah, that's the weird part about that movie, and it's like, but we're talking about the cats.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what does this have to do with anything? To do with the rest of the movie? It's kind of like it's not on the same level because it's kind of explained because it's not really explained in Amityville 2 Possession with the weird incest with the brother and sister. Like, it reminds me of that kind of, but like I
might surprise you both, but with what I might end up doing Star Trek: The Next Generation with Spot. Spot.
I've never been a Star Trek guy. Yeah, never been a Star Trek guy.
We'll find something. But
we'll find some cat stuff.
That's right. We're gonna go ahead and
find gnats. We'll find bats. We're gonna find it all.
I think, like you said, I think Al will definitely have it over us.
Yeah.
But we will see what he has to. We'll see what he. We'll see whoever goes first. Then we'll find insect movies and cat and bat movies.
Not for a very long time, man.
I tell you one thing: if Al doesn't do Nightwing, I'm going to be doing Nightwing. I tell you that right now. That's going to be my movie. That's my jam right there. All right, JT. I think we should get out of here, my friend.
Yeah, man. I'm going to make some food. That's the plan. And then, so what's going on? Quick, if you want to say what's going on in your channel.
I'm going over to Cadaver Club's channel.
You got IFC night tonight.
That's right. We're doing Contracted tonight.
Nice.
Doing Contracted.
That's a good one.
Yeah, which is basically an origin story of a zombie. So that would be oh yeah, I read stuff. I read Sleepwalkers. It's a
Yeah,
great.
yeah. I haven't read it in forever. Yeah,
I read all that when I was younger. King stories. Yeah, it's
yeah.
weird. His early stuff is weird.
Well,
Um,
I mean, yeah.
but
I
yeah,
mean,
that's what I'm doing tonight.
he
I'll be
was
over
all
at Ben's
fucked up.
piano with Mary Wilson and Ben, and we'll be talking about Contracted. Haas will not be there, but he'll be back next month. Next
Okay.
month we'll be doing Oddity. Oddity will be
Oh, that's
my
right. You mentioned that to me. I loved Oddity. That
yeah.
made my top films of the year last year. Like not high up on the list, but it made the list. I thought it was very, very, very creepy and effective.
Yeah, I do too. It looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for me.
All right. So to look forward to that. He will be with the IFC Midnights later tonight. And what do I have going on? We're doing Tales from the Crypt Demon Night watch along discussion on Wednesday at 11 p.m. Then next Saturday at 11 p.m. is Cabin Fever, the original, not that abomination remake that came out like a few years
What
ago.
are you talking trash about the IFC remake? Oh, that's
Yeah,
on now.
the Cabin Fever remake.
It's on now.
You like that, huh?
No, I can't lie about that.
Yeah, I don't know why. That's like one of those movies that I say, wow, well, like why remake this movie? It came out in 2002, Cabin Fever. Does it
Yeah,
really need a remake? Like 20, not even 20
no,
years later?
yeah, nobody asked for that.
Yeah, no one did. No one wanted it. No one liked it that I know. But all right,
You,
yeah.
you,
Then any.
you remaking the movie? Yeah, Serena Vincent going to be in it? No. See ya.
All right, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for hanging out with us. Stacy, thank you. Nan, have a great night. And everybody else who hung out. And some random movie will probably come out, some video later tonight or tomorrow, whatever I end up watching tonight. But what do you want to see, Nan? On my shirt, quick. Oh, Creep Show. I love the shirt. Long sleeve, too. So, like, if it's cold, it's nice, beautiful. But all right, guys. Everyone have a great night. And we'll talk to you soon.